Alrighty guys, I am loading up to go to Barber Motorsports Park to meet up with my brother and dad and a couple of my cousins. So I'm getting ready to load up the Viper. This always is interesting because I don't have a parking brake, and sometimes when I drive it on I create issues. Sometimes I'll scrape the side sills on the fender trailer, or the fenders on the trailer. So this is always interesting. So I'm going to try and block the wheel so it doesn't roll back. I'll take the transmission out of gear, and then I'll try and winch it up there so that I can slowly steer it. So maybe I'll put a little more, take a little more of the slack out of that, to where it's not going to roll too much. So let's take a little more out. Let's take a little. Okay, that's pretty tight. So then let's try and make sure we got the wheel chalked nice and good. I'm going to do this side since it's a little more available for me. Then maybe it won't roll back when I take it out of gear. Alright, nice. So, it did not roll back, so we're in good shape. Let's start winching it up. Okay, we got a car coming, so maybe I'll wait a second. Nope, they're going somewhere else. Probably need to be a little more consistent than letting off like that. Let's make sure we're checking this side too. Side looks good. Okay, let's check. Yep, still looks like it's pretty well lined up. Let's check back here. I think we're gonna have a couple inches of room right here. I think we'll be all right over here. I just need to crank the wheel to the left a little bit. And I'm gonna put you down so I can start steering the wheel, because I only have two hands. So okay, well, that only took like an hour longer than it should have. It's all loaded up. I had a lot of trouble getting it onto these little race ramp, like kind of like trailer beds, kind of like it kind of cradles the wheel, so maybe eliminates a little bit of rocking, which is something I'm trying to eliminate since I don't have a parking brake on my car. So I don't want the transmission constantly getting beat to death. So it's finally on there. I had to use a bunch of small blocks of wood to kind of get it up there because the incline is a little too steep for the front fascia. So that was a lot of work. I reeled the winch in too much, and it yanked the front bumper down. Luckily, everything on this car is like plastic, so you just bend it back. But otherwise, it's all trailered up and ready to go. So some of you know this. I recently stripped out all the interior in the Viper, carpet, trim panels, everything that it pretty much didn't need in order to make it lighter, because like lighter cars obviously go around tracks faster. So I did that, and as I was driving down the road, I just had to stop because I had my window was flapping all over the place and smacking against the door frame. I had made plexiglass windows to kind of sit in the place where the windows used to be, so that when I'm transporting the car, if it rains, rain doesn't get down and spoil all the electronics and all that stuff. So I had made these Lexan plexiglass windows, and well, I seated them in place with some rubber door stoppers, and the passenger side is holding perfectly, or I guess the driver's side is holding perfectly, but the passenger side wobbled so much and fell out. So I just had to stop and remove that, and I'll have to figure out a way to better seal that or better mount that plexiglass window, because I took out my windows, I took out the window regulators, all the door panels, speakers, all that kind of stuff. So let me show you what I mean. The windows I'd made, just cut these out of plexiglass and stuck some door stoppers in here, and it's roughly the shape of the window. Now, as you can see, it doesn't, the contour's not perfect, but what Dad and I did for the drive back from Huntsville was we basically laid a layer of masking tape all the way around on the painted surfaces around here, and then we'd lay duct tape over top, so it gave it a nice seal and was easy enough to do. So it just made transport easier, because if I haven't told you, I've already removed most of the interior in the car, a lot of the trim panels. The interior door panels are gone, so are the windows and the window regulators. So I have an open car hauler, so I needed a way to kind of seal up the windows so that water didn't get in and ruin any of the electronics quite as bad. So that's what those plexiglass windows are for. All right, guys, we are finally here at Barber Motorsports Park. So we're gonna go ahead and head on in. We just stopped at Buc-ee's and filled up the Viper with fuel and the spare fuel jugs, and so now we're entering the property. Even on the way in, it's kind of like a little road course. You have these little hills and these twisty turns. It's fun. Even coming into the track in your truck is fun, but you gotta be careful, because some of these turns will sneak up on you, or they're little dips in the road. But man, I can't tell you what it feels like to pull up here. It's just such a beautiful place. Something you'll notice as we actually get into the actual complex, we're not actually in yet. They've got a little gate that you got to enter, and they'll check you to make sure you're cleared to enter the property, that you've got permission. But once we get inside to the actual racetrack, something that's unique to Barber is that there's little, like, I don't want to call them idiosyncrasies, but there are these like Easter eggs all throughout the property. There's a lady in the lake, and there's little goblins peeking up through manholes, and there's a lady that hangs down from the bridge from the museum over the track. And it's a funny story about that is that in the IndyCar race here this past year, the lady actually fell onto the track, and I think it was like Scott Dixon or McLaughlin or someone hit her. So it was kind of funny that, like, all these years later it fell down during an IndyCar race. But there's giant spiders on the track and just all sorts of different things. So it's just really cool. Like, it's got a really neat feel to this track. So they may not be open yet, because the Porsche driving experience is actually here. So sometimes they don't let us on until after 5 o'clock, but as you can see, it's just after 5, so maybe they'll let us in. I'm gonna see if this car is gonna let us by up here, or if he's gonna direct me to lot G. There's still a lot of vehicles back in here, so I'm gonna assume that we got to go back here. If they had cleared given the go-ahead, then these vehicles would probably already be up there trying to get in through the course. So got all these people waiting. Got a couple Corvettes. Here's a nice Lexus. Really nice tow rig right there. Aluminum trailer. All these nice trailers. This nice Porsche GT4 RS. Man, that's a nice car. That's a really nice car. Let's see what else we got back here. Oh, it's funny. That's my dad up there in the blue Corvette pulling ahead of us. Oh man, they fit 2 Porsches on that trailer. That is awesome. A lot of great stuff out here. So we're entering the actual track. Over here's the museum on the right. They've got like the largest collection of motorcycles, I believe, in any one museum. So it's really cool. They've got some really cool things too that aren't motorcycles. They've got Formula One cars, Indy cars, sports cars, supercars, all that kind of stuff. But it's predominantly a motorcycle museum. But as I said earlier, here's the gateway entrance. The security's just checking everyone for proper authority to get in, which is these little wristbands that we got to show them, and then it gives you the thumbs up and you're in. And so bingo, we are in the track. And so now you can see this gorgeous facility over here to the right. This is the actual racetrack. You've got your scoring pylon in the center. You got your paddock back there, and then all your other facilities all the way around in this road that kind of goes around the circumference of the track. You've got obviously like different maintenance buildings. Here's the Lady of the Lake that I mentioned earlier. She's ginormous if it doesn't come through that way on the GoPro. But yeah, that's just one of those like Easter eggs that I was talking about earlier. And hopefully you'll get to see a few more. Like you'll notice up here on the right, the gate is actually lined with an old school motorcycle, which is pretty cool that they keep that theme going. It's an extremely nice facility. You can see here how high the peak is of that turn right there. They call that the tunnel turn because there's a tunnel over here for where you can get through the track. Just super cool track. There's the man, the goblin, and the pothole. There's Jason Voorhees or something over there. Got all sorts of things. See if you can see anything else. Yeah, here's the back side of the turn that I just talked to y'all about. You can see that there's a ton of elevation change on this track. And you can see over there, that's turns 15 and 16, and there's pit out right before the main straight. So yeah, you see a little bit of the track from the outside. You got some cool vantage points. If you ever want to come here and watch the IndyCar race, you got all this green grass, like really well maintained grass to come and sit on and watch. Yeah. Then, as I was saying earlier, there's a Porsche driving school that's located here. There's actually the helicopter pad down there, if you can see that. But back to the Porsche driving school. So they've got tons and tons and tons of Porsches here for driving lessons, racing lessons, that kind of stuff. And so here you can see their fleet of vehicles just tucked under this covered paddock, which is nice. So that's super cool. I'm probably gonna let y'all go so that I can end up parking my trailer in one of these bays, and then hopefully we'll pick back up in a little bit.